it's kind of a lost art.
Grady Newsource reporter Nixon Norman shares how losing the art of the library can cost you. Plus,
on this day, you want to check and make sure that you're definitely registered to vote.
these stories and more on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Hi, I'm Aaron Smig, and we kick off tonight's Grady Newsource with the start of Athens Pride Week. There will be a number of events throughout the week leading up to the Street Festival this Sunday. Live in downtown Athens is Grady Newsource reporter Tyler Metcalf with more information about this weekend's events.
I'm here outside 40 where Athens Pride is hosting the variety show for tonight. I spoke with multiple Athens Pride participants in upcoming events about what we should be expecting this upcoming week.
By Athens Pride, with events being held in the city's various bars and venues, and even right across from the Arch. The president of Athens Pride is very optimistic about this year's turnout.
And I think that we're growing and we're expanding and we're trying to make sure to hit many things.
This success does not come without some challenges.
Last year we had our first protesters, which was actually kind of a big obstacle for us, and actually protesters can be really hard for some LGBT folks, especially if they've had issues with religion in the past.
Regardless of this, the community is still in high spirits.
There's going to be plenty of people partying like all weekend long, but also in a family-friendly environment, at least on Sunday for the Pride Festival itself.
This week's events include a drag show, variety show, memorial event, and music festival. I spoke with Kenny Laney about what these events mean to him.
I think that drag shows are important because it kind of bends the rules a little bit. People can come and they can dress how they want, can act how they want within reason, and just have a good time. And I don't think that any other environment.
What exactly can we expect to see at this variety show tonight, Tyler?
Yeah, so there's going to be multiple forms of entertainment here tonight. They're going to have a burlesque show, live music, and comedy from people from Queer Eye from the Straight Guy.
And is this open to the public? How are signups held?
You just come purchase a ticket down here. It starts at 6 o'clock tonight, so you still have time if you're watching this right down to get down here.
And will your act be involved, Tyler? And we look forward to that variety show, Tyler. Thank you for the coverage. I know certainly I'm excited for the events leading up to Athens Pride Weekend. The festivities cap off on this weekend with a large, very family-friendly festival. Make sure you come out, show your support, and you enjoy the festivities. This past weekend, a record number of fans filled Sanford Stadium for the University of Georgia Notre Dame football game. But according to some students, not everyone who entered the stadium actually got to sit and watch the game. Sports reporter Kat Hendrick is here with more.
Thanks, Aaron. You know, Earth, Wind, and Fire once asked if we remember the 21st night of September, and if you were in Athens for the Notre Dame football game, the answer is probably yes. However, unfortunately, some students aren't having good memories. I spoke with two fourth-year students, Jessica Phillips and Sarah Lynn, who explained to me their experience at the game. They had student tickets that they got from the UGA ticket office, and they were scanned into the game, but eventually kicked out of their seats because of ticket holders that would show up with security saying that they had an actual ticket that was not from the UGA student office. This was the experience that many students had, and many are speculating whether or not they were oversold on the tickets, whether or not students were in the wrong place, or if they just ran out of wristbands. However, I did speak with the Deputy Athletic Director, my colleague Julia Saunders spoke with the Deputy Athletic Director of Operations, Josh Brooks, who said, and he quotes, "We are aware of the issues and we will continue to work on ways to improve the experience for students moving forward." If you would like to know more about the situation and what else he said about specifically what happened to these students who were misplaced and not allowed into the game or not allowed to stay in the game, you can tune into Grady Newsource tomorrow, where Julia will give you the rest of the story. Back to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Kat, for that update. And to repeat, if you'd like to know more about what happened with the student tickets, there's more to the story. Tune in tomorrow, where Grady Newsource reporter Julia Sanders will give you more from Josh Brooks on specifically what he thinks went wrong this weekend. Athens-Clarke County spent upwards of 2 months preparing for the crowds drawn in by the UGA Notre Dame football game. Despite the massive amounts of flocking fans, though, police were able to maintain order and keep arrest rates on par with past game days.
Well, this was the game of the decade.
Hunter Kleisner is a bartender and doorman at Magnolia's Bar in Athens. He had a front row seat to the entire spectacle.
There were a lot of cops doing crowd control. A lot more cops, bike cops standing out there. There were cops, directing traffic. It was pretty wild.
Sanford Stadium housed over 90,000 attendees last weekend, September 21st, for the UGA Notre Dame showdown that ended in a UGA victory. However, such large crowds require special attention from local law enforcement to keep everything under control. Out of the 32 arrests made on Saturday, 4 charges were for drunken disorderly conduct, 3 charges were for driving under the influence, 6 charges of having a fake ID, and 6 charges of minors in possession. Day attendees are recommended to stay safe, drink responsibly, and plan transportation ahead of time to avoid becoming part of these arrest statistics. With 11 dead and more than 3 dozen injured from train collisions last year in Georgia, Operation Lifesaver is determined to make a dent in those figures. Grady Newsource reporter Francisco Guzman shows us which counties in Georgia have the highest casualties from highway road collisions.
Have died in highway railroad collisions. Fulton County has the most, with 6 deaths, while Coweta and DeKalb have 3. That's why the nonprofit Operation Lifesaver is sponsoring Rail Safety Week. Each day this week, the organization will focus on a safety tip or activity to remind people how to stay safe at railroad crossings. For more information on what they are doing, head over to Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Francisco. Go to Grady Newsource for more information on this topic. If you want to express your concerns about the Athens-Clarke County Animal Control's recent issues with the parvovirus and quarantines, you can do so at a town hall meeting tomorrow night. District 5 Commissioner Tim Denson is hosting the meeting at the Athens Regional Library on 2025 Baxter Street this Wednesday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Registering to vote for the first time today, an eligible student who did not know how to register before completed her voter application this morning. National Voter Registration Day brings awareness across the country.
Students like Lauren Waldrop are registered to vote for the first time today. Before Lauren attended the University of Georgia, she went out of state for her first year of college. Lauren was eligible to vote but didn't know how to register for the state of Georgia.
Because I turned 18 there and I was out of state and I'm from Georgia. So I think this is a really easy way for me to get going on that process.
It's National Voter Registration Day. Come register to vote if you haven't.
Every state has its own policies. In Georgia, if you register in your home county and cannot go home, an absent ballot is an option. To be counted, absent ballots must be mailed or delivered to the issuing county by the cutoff date. Every year, millions of Americans are unable to vote because they missed the registration day deadline. National Voter Day Registration wants to make sure everyone has the opportunity to vote.
On this day, you want to check and make sure that you're definitely registered to vote.
Lauren hopes her friends and family members will register to vote to make change happen.
And if you want certain things to be established or whatever in your community, then you have to take action.
2 new polling center locations will open for the election in Athens-Clarke County. Voting locations near you can be found at www.sos.ga.gov. Alexandra Rios, Grady Newsource.
If you're unsure about your registration status or want to find out more about your voter responsibilities, check out www.sos.ga.gov for more information. This month is Hispanic Heritage Month, and as we reach the end of September, reporter Eric Solorzano has more on how you can celebrate with different Latin events happening this week. Eric?
Thank you, Aaron. And that's right. Yes, this month is dedicated to honoring Latin American culture. And September is significant because every day more and more Americans are also Latino. If you take a look at this graph here, you'll see that in a single decade, the population increased from 16 to 18%. Now, I know that seems like some small digits, but if you take a look here, here we go. Sorry about that. But if you take a look here, that 2% actually accounted for over half of the U.S. total population growth. Now, if you're interested in different Latin events happening this month in Athens, like the Latin X Fest this weekend, check out GradyNewsource.com for a full calendar of events.
A reason to be proud for local high school graduates. That story coming up next.
We'd do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Can we get strawberries? Okay.
After Georgia's anti-abortion law, also known as the Heartbeat Bill, was challenged in court, U.S. District Judge Steve C. Jones delayed his ruling on whether or not the law would hold up at a hearing yesterday. His office says it is unclear when he will do so. The law is set to go into effect on January 1st. Neil Gaiman, writer of Coraline and The Sandman, said, "Google can bring you back 100,000 answers. A librarian can bring you back the right one." Grady Newsource reporter Nixon Norman reports on the importance of having a library card.
We really want to showcase that a library card is for everyone, and we want to show that people of all walks of life use library cards, even police chiefs, even teachers.
And speaking of the police,
do it the simple way, and take the time to actually realize that there are resources other than search engines and Google and all the quick things that you can do that's right at your fingertips. It's kind of a lost art.
Library cards are useful to people for personal reasons.
I love my library card, and I don't say that just because I work at the library. I read a lot, my family reads a lot. It's a way for us to have access to so many more books than could fit in our house. It's just a great way to save money for your family and to really offer your family and yourself exposure to a whole world,
as well as useful to entire communities.
I would prefer that.
You know, in smaller communities like here, you see the library packed a lot, and you see people take their kids to the library. And not only are they on the computers doing things, they are actually walking up and down the aisles and picking out books.
All right, and here's your library card.
Thank you. And all you have to do to get a library card is be a resident of Georgia, have proof of residency, and a picture ID. And did I mention it's free? So to sign up,
you can call us and connect with us online, or just come in and see us.
Nixon Norman, Grady Newsource.
So before the month of September is over, you may want to go out and get yourself a library card, because it's free and knowledge is power. Students in 9 of the 10 local high schools are graduating at higher rates than the rest of Georgia. Overall high school graduation rates increased in 2019 for students in Barrow, Clark, Jackson, Madison, and Oconee counties. Digital reporter Carly Reese has more on how these rates compare to the rest of Georgia.
Georgia's overall graduation rate for 2019 was 82%. That's not as good as what students in these Northeast Georgia counties achieved. Both Jackson and Oconee counties are 2 of the 24 Georgia counties that recorded graduation rates above 95%. This graph shows you Georgia graduation rates over the last 7 years, and as you can see, it increased 12 percentage points since 2012.
Do you need access to legal assistance? The Access to Justice Initiative is offering its first of many free legal pop-up clinics this fall. Anyone who needs access to legal services can visit the Athens First Baptist Church at 335 Pulaski Street this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Attendees are encouraged to bring any important papers with them. For more information, visit accgov.com. Sewer lines along UGA's campus are old and not up to par, so the Athens Public Utilities Department will fix this issue next semester by replacing them with new pipes. But your commute to work or school may be affected.
Please plan your route accordingly. There may be some delays.
Your morning or afternoon commute may be disrupted next semester if you drive or take a bus on campus. New, larger pipes will replace the outdated sewer lines that run along campus.
There's a sanitary sewer in the area that is very old, and it needs to be replaced because it's structurally not in good shape.
Behind me, you'll see Lumpkin Street, where all of the construction of the Tanyard Creek improvements will take place.
Any buses that move down Lumpkin Street will be affected by it.
Bus stops along this road are going to be temporarily relocated during the construction process.
Some of those, it may only be a week or two. We're going to try to keep the construction moving along and close it no longer than is absolutely necessary to make that happen. Some of the construction phases are scheduled to last about 30 days, but hopefully no bus stop will be impacted for 30 days.
Not to worry too much, though, if you're planning on coming to graduation next May. The project is planned to be completed by May 10th so that visitors can travel freely and without delay along campus.
The plan is to have everything open graduation weekend so that the people that come to graduation can enjoy Athens as they deserve to enjoy it.
I'm Caroline Greger, Grady Newsource.
The phases of the construction will start in the spring of 2020, but should be completed by graduation in May for all of the visitors to travel without delay.
I'm Kat Hendrick, and coming up next, I have an update on all of your NFL dogs to tide you over through the weekend.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
How
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
And now, sports.
Some rest for the University of Georgia football team comes after its win over Notre Dame this past weekend. The Dogs put up 18 first downs and 339 total yards to beat the Irish 23-17. Star performances from the game include Jake Fromm's 187 yards and, of course, Rodrigo Blankenship's clutch field goal. And if the past is any indication of what these boys might have to look forward to, they've got some bright futures in the league. Just check out these past performances from former Dogs this weekend, okay? Starting with Todd Gurley, the running back had 14 carries on 43 yards for the Los Angeles Rams against the Cleveland Browns. But on the other sideline, former teammate Nick Chubb rushed for 96 yards on 23 carries and 35 yards on 4 catches. Those numbers put him at 7th in the NFL for rushing with 233 yards. Up next, we have offensive lineman and center Ben Jones, who logged all 80 offensive snaps to help the Tennessee Titans gain 340 yards versus the Jaguars. Patriots running back Sony Michel now stands at 7th in the NFL for rushing touchdowns after a 5-yard run against the Jets. Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford went 18 for 32 and a touchdown against the Eagles, bringing him to 9th in the league for passing touchdowns. Kansas City wide receiver Mecole Hardman showed out with an 83-yard touchdown reception and a 7-yard rush against the Ravens. So in NFL rookies, he now sits at 1st in punt return average, 2nd in receiving yards, and 6th in kickoff return average. And finally, we have Bears linebacker Roquan Smith, who registered 6 tackles and brought Chicago to a 31-15 win over the Redskins. So this weekend, if you feel like you're going through Georgia football withdrawal, like I just might, take comfort in the fact that there are still 13 NFL games with former Dog players to curb your craving. I'm Kat Hendrick with sports.
My name is Tara Brawley with your Grady Newsource weather. And coming up, I'm going to tell you how fall is shaping up here in Athens. I'll give you your 5-day forecast, and then I'll tell you about Tropical Storm Karen off the coast of Puerto Rico.
Hello. Hi. I'm from Blue Hood Stone Barns. We brought a meal for you, and I'm here to serve it to you.
Okay, great. Come in.
Zucchini carbonara, made from zucchini that was harvested earlier this morning. Again?
Hey, Dan Barber.
You have room for a little bit more?
Come on in.
Brochettes with sausage. So when we made that zucchini carbonara, you know, they're the end pieces of the zucchini, and they're the cores that we cut away, not to mention zucchini flower. Usually those get thrown out. We use them to create an entire second dish. Does that,
Again?
I'm here to bring you your 3rd course. It's the vines from your zucchini.
We'll have a little zucchini stem pasta, a different experience of zucchini. When we start to think differently about our food, we can get a lot more out of it.
This is delicious.
What do you think we can make out of this? 40% of food in America is never eaten. Cook it, store it, share it. Visit SaveTheFood.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation.
America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Laughing too hard at one of your colleagues' jokes at the office party? He's not even funny. Warning sign, those drinks are probably going to your head. Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
And now, the weather.
My name is Tara Brawley, and I'm here with your Grady Newsource weather. As you may know, yesterday was the first day of fall, so we're going to take a look at how fall is shaping up here in Athens. And that will lead us into our 5-day forecast, where I'll give you the highs and the lows for the week. And then we're going to take a look at Tropical Storm Karen, which is currently off the coast of Puerto Rico. So for this evening, it's looking like it'll be pretty clear. It'll be pretty hot at 6 p.m. with like around 89 degrees. And then it'll get gradually cooler as the night goes on at 78 at 9 p.m. and then 70 at midnight. And then our low for the evening is about 65, and we'll hit that around 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, so just remain aware as you leave for work or school. You might want to grab a light jacket. It'll be mostly clear, very low chances for precipitation, and the winds will be very slow, around 3 miles per hour going to the northeast. Don't let this low fool you though, because the high tomorrow is 91 degrees. It may be fall here in Athens, but certainly still feels like summer. It'll be very sunny tomorrow with low chance for rain and pretty low winds again. So our 5-day forecast for the week, as you can see, this week will be a real scorcher with highs in the 90s, and then our lows will be in the mid to high 60s, reaching 70 on Friday. It'll be clear all week with a little bit more cloud coverage on Friday and Saturday. So the Tropical Storm Karen is currently off the coast of Puerto Rico and is expected to hit sometime today. Puerto Rico is under a tropical storm warning, meaning they're expecting some heavy rains and maybe some flooding. The maximum sustained wind is 40 miles per hour, and it is moving north at 8 miles per hour, expected to reach the mid-Atlantic around 8 a.m. Saturday. So we should be okay here in Georgia, but just remain aware of it as the week goes on. And we should be okay here on the coast, but again, keep an eye on that storm. My name is Tara Brawley, and this has been your Grady Newsource weather.
Coming up, we'll take you back downtown with Tyler Metcalf with more information about Pride, the variety show.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
I'm Aaron Smay.
I'm Kat Hendrick.
And I'm Tara Brawley.
And this has been Grady Newsource.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
Okay, so we drowned the fire,
Yep.
stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
All right, hello and welcome to our Thursday night post show. First off, today was actually a really good show. It was pretty clean. There were just a couple of little things that went wrong. Mostly, I just wanted to talk about pre-recording. Well, first, I just want to say that we need teases for the B and E block, and then we also need pre-tease written before 2 p.m. because that's when our anchor is supposed to start recording. So that's when we need those teases written by. That way, if he has something else to do, he can go do that. Because otherwise, we are stuck waiting for teases to be written. I know that happened when Alex was anchoring. I know that happened a couple of other times. So basically, we just need those teases written on time so we can record by our schedule. We were also just a little bit behind today because sports was a little bit late getting started. And we also had some extra stuff at the smart board. Basically, we just need to know that as far ahead of time as possible. If you can let me know when I walk in the door if we have something extra that we need to record at the smart board, that way we can work it into our schedule. And if sports is running behind, then we can work in that smart board recording in the normal time that we do sports. That way we can just switch those around. That would be great, just so we know ahead of time. That way we can adjust. Let's see here. Let us know about things that come up during a regularly scheduled recording time. We can adjust to most things if we have enough time to prepare beforehand. So if you have someone who can only be interviewed when you're supposed to be in the studio, let us know as soon as possible. That way we can record before or after that time and you can get that interview. Let's see here. If something is going to be at the smart board, please put SB at the end of the slug in the rundown, like it's a lead or a tag or a reader. That way we know where it's supposed to be. That way it's not just a plain reader. We also just need to be a little bit more consistent about the video column. If something is a VO or has a SOT, or if something has a graphic, like a full screen graphic or an OTS, just make sure that those are in the right columns, like the video or the graphics column. Finally, please make sure to drop things in the right folder and also to put VO and SOT cues in Prompter. That just makes life a little bit easier, and sometimes we don't have time to go hunting for stuff if it's in the wrong folder. Today we pulled it in even though it was in the incorrect folder, but that was just because we had time. If it's a crazy show and we don't have time to prepare, we're not going to be able to pull that package in, and that means it doesn't go on the air. That is basically everything that I wanted to say, but I do also want to mention that people were very prepared today. There were a couple of people who weren't as prepared, but in terms of weather was basically recording when I walked in, which was fantastic. Anchor, ready to go down there. Basically, the second I said, hey, we might need you down there in a couple of minutes, you were in the door to the control room, which was fantastic. So it's just really great when you guys are prepared, especially, I know Tyler isn't here, but I didn't have to have anything to do with that live shot. That was fantastic. It's just was prepared, dropped the package way before the deadline, and was out the door. So we just love it when that happens. That way everything goes as smoothly as possible. So things to improve on, but also things that went really well. Today overall was a pretty good show. It just was a little bit hectic beforehand. So if we could prepare a little bit better and be on the same page during the 12 to 4 block, that would be, like recording block, that would be a lot better. Do you have anything you want to say?
I just want to say good job. You guys are killing it each and every day. Today was great. Not my best show as director, but that was not your guys' fault. That was just me being tired from college. The only thing that could help, like Sarah said, is putting VO markers in. Luckily, since I'm the one that makes your guys' VOs, like graphics, I know what they're about, so I can figure out when to pop them up if you guys are saying things that go along with the VO, but most people won't. So if you have a VO in a story, make sure to put that marker in. I don't know who wrote it today, but luckily I knew it was time, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to fling it up there when he starts saying the time. But most directors won't know that, and they just won't take the VO. So other than that, you guys killed it.
And I know I am giving you guys a whole lot of critiques and a whole lot of pointers, but that's just because you guys are doing really well so far, and we want to be as prepared and responsive as possible to you, so we just need to make sure that we are communicating about and being prepared as possible. That way we can help you guys put on the best show possible, because you guys are kind of ahead of the curve so far, so that's why I'm being a little bit more nitpicky this early on. So that's everything that I have to say. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the show.
All right, Tasia, our TV producer.
I'm gonna let them go first.
Them who? You're a content
All right.
manager and you're digital. Okay.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I think each show, it just shows that collaboration and communication are really important. That live shot with Tyler went so smoothly because of the communication and collaboration. In my role as content manager this week, I think a lot of you really helped us out to be less stressed. Even though, like Caroline, you had 3 stories you didn't think were going to work out, you pushed hard and you created a package that was really well done. So just you guys helped us out a lot. There were some instances where we thought maybe one story wouldn't work out. You just have to keep pushing through, and it works out in the end.
So I was, what am I, digital producer?
What am I?
I'm sorry, it's the end of the show. So I was digital producer. It was kind of weird transitioning because I've only been down there with you guys for ever since we started Newsource, so this is my first time up here. But overall, I was honestly really proud of my team. I love my team this week. Thank you so much, Francisco, Eric, Carly. Y'all killed it. Honestly, I had really no trouble with anyone. Everyone was pretty prepped. Carly and I maintained a lot of communication, which I think is so essential. And thank you for coming to me with any questions you had, because I am here to obviously help you. And so I'm really glad we got to get all those things out really early on, and you weren't scared to come up to me. So thank you for that. And yeah, overall, I really liked it. Great show. We got some good stuff online. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, and now to me. First, I would like to say thank you to Caroline, because her whole pitch got canceled and she still came back and had something to put in the rundown. And also to Kat for just chasing her story from this morning to basically 5 o'clock. As far as the newscast is concerned, I mean, everybody is saying that it was a good show, and don't get me wrong, it was good, but I had higher expectations for you guys, and I just didn't see that, and I know that we could do better than what we produced. And I think part of that is starting in the morning meeting with our pitches. I realized that most people didn't have a pitch from their beat, and that just goes into, we're not digging deep enough into our beat, and we're coming in and we're just saying, okay, I want to do something from Athens. And I know everybody in here does not have Athens as their beat. So yeah, I think for Thursday, just today, just start digging deep into your beat. Like I know I was telling Francisco that for Jackson County, I was reading the Jackson Herald or whatever, and a man found dead bodies in his yard. And then for Oconee County, Kendra was saying that, you know, she got a police report about a guy that was stealing opioids. Just different things like that that would make the newscast more interesting. I feel like today we just had a lot of, I wouldn't say fluff stories, but they were cute. I mean, it was a good show.
Community interest.
Yeah, but we had more newsy stuff going on. And I also, I understand your point to the whole Julia thing for Monday, Wednesday, but I never want us to start a story and then have Monday, Wednesday finish it for us. I want it to be our job if we come in with a story to finish it. And I understand where you're coming from, but just in the future, I don't want to have Monday, Wednesday finish a story that, you know, we worked our butts off for.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So yeah, she's very right that you guys need to come in with your pitches, not only in the Google sheet, but within your beats. But I will say, as content manager, I didn't do the best job of looking into those stories. So what you did, I should have done. So I'm going to come back Thursday and try to do better at that.
Also, for your interviews, I didn't know this, but now I do. For the pre-show, I need sound bites from your interviews. So anything that when you're in your interview, and if your source says something that you think is appealing to your story or would stand out for the show, just go ahead, as soon as you get back in there, find the soundbite and send it to me so we can go ahead and get that pre-show recorded like they were saying earlier. Never want to accuse it tomorrow, I said that. And then there was some shaky video in one of the packages. I forgot.
Work Street Records, Mr. Smay.
But just make sure we're checking out gear. Also, the sound was kind of weird. I don't know if that was us or if that was.
I think that's us, yeah.
You're talking about that same package. I'll talk about that because that's something that we can address.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was a good show, but we've done better. And I've been up here and I've seen you guys do better. And I feel like today we did good last week. Well, we did great last week, so let's just come in here and just, no, I want us to take it up a notch. So, yeah, that's it.
My work is done. So Tasia took all my stuff. And I appreciate you guys taking the leadership and the ownership and the initiative to prod some folks. Because that's what builds a good team. I mean, I can sit there and be like, you know, mom or maybe great-grandma. I'm A, not good at it. B, it doesn't really teach you. It's just a good opportunity for me to show off, oh, look what I know, you know. It doesn't teach you all anything. So thank you for taking that ownership and demonstrating, you know, the leadership and setting the expectations. I think this team will respond a lot more to you. So just saying. Couple of things. I thought I was frustrated with digital last week, not in a personal way, but just as we try this system, why isn't it working? Because, you know, if we design something, I want it to work yesterday. And I don't know why the world doesn't work that way. It'd just be so much easier, but it doesn't. So we were doing a good job last week promoting in the broadcast to digital. And then our digital stuff was like, meh. Today, I really liked the digital stuff. I thought it was a lot richer. But I'd like us to take it one more step up. I loved the data visualization that you did. I love the fact that you got the video from the Operation Lifesaver and called and got permission, you know, to use that. I loved how you did an interactive graphic where we could scroll over and see the graduation rates. I thought the digital was much better, and we did the promotion as well. I liked how you did the graphic on the smartboard. I think Eric really did a beautiful job using the smartboard today, and it kind of hiccuped on you a little bit, but you didn't freak out. You also Eric did something really professional when we kind of stayed on him. He didn't do, or is anybody making a blooper tape? Because we got a good one today. Did y'all see that? Yeah, so let's not let that blooper get away from us. Anyway, so I thought Eric did a really good job with, hey, they're still on me. Let me just stand here. You know, sometimes you just want to fill the silence, right? And you didn't, and that was very pro. And I like the fact that when the smartboard wasn't changing, you didn't go, rah. You know, you waited and it changed and it was fine. You gave us a little bit of information, but it had some context. I was concerned about that 2% growth, but then when you said, but that accounts for a 50%, I went, oh, and it made me interested in seeing, quote unquote, the rest of the story. So it's sometimes I call it like the big marshmallow theory. Like, remember in Ghostbusters, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Oh, God, is that before y'all's time? You know, big Stay Puft. So if you press on a marshmallow at one corner, it just poofs out on the other. If you press on this corner, it poofs out the other. And a lot of news source is that. You know, that's why I give you 3 to 4 key goals to work on each week. If you work on everything, you don't accomplish anything. So you guys did a nice job pushing in on the digital marshmallow. And I felt like we did a better job there, but I feel like we let some things get away from us on the broadcast side. So Aaron, in your story, you did have shaky video. And, you know, sadly, I think Tasia said it best. And I think Sarah Crick said it best. You guys are ahead of the curve. So expectations are higher. You know, your intellect, what you've demonstrated so far just means the expectations are higher. We are a month past having shaky video, guys, okay? Last week we said, let's be sure and get tight shots. Where's Rios? There you are. Alex, you did a really nice job, you know, getting some close-up shots today. I want to see more of that. She did a nice job with that. I mentioned to Caroline about the mic, and again, as Sarah Cricks would say, maybe I'm nitpicking a little bit, but these are marks of a professional. You want to see the mic cord go up somebody's shirt, and I know Carol's going, but it's creepy. No, I do not mean for you to do that. Hey, you know, you just say, here's the mic. Please put it behind you. We don't want to, you know, the cord to be distracting. These are little things, but they're professional things, and yes, it's early in the semester to be talking about that, but it's pretty gratifying to be able to do so. Let's see. I do think while we did a better job with digital today, let's step that up. Now let me just be real blunt with this. It was fine. It was better than fine. Francisco, you offered some extra information. You did something with Data Wrapper. You did something really nice as well. You let us know of some events that were going to be taking place, and that was really pretty. But I do think as we move forward in this arena where even people my age are watching this thing, you guys, well, I'm a reader. That's who I am. And frankly, back in the day, you know, if you could read, that's what you did. And then radio came along, and people sat around listening to the radio. Then television, and then people did this with a remote. We even have people my age that are now watching television. I see you all on your computers. Sometimes I see young people. I don't really hang out with you, but sometimes I watch y'all. I have nieces, nephews, children. And you have your laptop, and sometimes you have an iPad, or these really giant iPads. That seems to be kind of a thing. But you also have something on a big screen. I'm not going to say television because I don't really know where it's coming from. Might be Netflix, I don't know. But there's more than one thing going on. The television generation is doing this too now. You know, doing this, watching. And on that, so if we're going to be here, but not on a cracked screen, and if we're going to be on that tablet, if we want to be where they go for news and information, then what do you think we need to put on there? Hint, when people started seeing moving video, they sat back and watched television. What do you think people are wanting to see here? What do you guys like to see? Why did they come up with IGTV? Video. So we bought some kits for you guys to do that. Very specific kits to be able to do digital video. And not digital video where you got somebody like me up there. Hi, how do you do? My name is Dodie. I have news. You know, that's not what people are going to watch. Our world with social media has gone past that. We have to do what Professor David Hasinski used to say, and he said it 20 years before anybody else did, the peek behind the curtain. People today, we call it being transparent. So what I want to see from you guys on Thursday, I want to see you guys use these mobile kits, and I want to see you, because people trust human beings. And right now, there's a question about how trustworthy people in the media are. And we know all day long that we are. And you see that code of ethics there, and you see the SPJ code of ethics. And I've not seen anything to tell me that any one of you does not adhere to that. And frankly, in my 37-year work life, Very rare instances where I felt for a second that somebody was either inattentive or careless or deliberate in not adhering to those codes of ethics. But our audiences don't know that. And you've got to prove it to them every day. So show them what you're doing. That's why I'm such a beast to you guys about sourcing. And that's why I say primary source, and tell people. So I'd love to see what you guys come up with on Thursday with putting video there and being willing to put yourselves in that video with these kits that we have. We've got the phone harnesses, we've got the selfie sticks, you name it. Experiment. You know, after you graduate, you're going to be working for a company. And while they will entreat you to come up with ideas, at the end of the day, a lot of what you'll be doing is going to be in their niche. The biggest complaint that I get from people that graduate from Newsource, they call up, I can't believe I have to do blah, blah, blah. You know, I thought I'd get to do X, Y, Z, but all of us have to do it this way. So play, experiment while you have the opportunity. And if there's a piece of equipment we don't have that you need, you know, tell me. I'm not going to get it for you, but I'll sympathize. No, if we can do it, you know, we will. But give it a try. So that's the thing. I want you to, again, keep working on close-up shots. Let's work on the audio. Erin, I'm going to pick on you again for a minute. So today you had a stand-up, and then you went straight to a recorded voice. And the pitch is different because it was recorded in a different area. There's a way we can deal with that. If we had just added a little gnat sound pop, then that would have overcome that because the two different audios wouldn't have been butted next to each other. That's why when you do a live shot, you don't ever want to start with your voice track. Always start with a little gnat sound bite or a little gnat sound pop. If you're Francisco, you start with a train whistle for the next 2 weeks, you know, because he's been all about the train stories. But make sure you do that. The other thing is you had a graphic, and I saw this twice in the show. I also saw it on another story. Justify your graphics to the left, okay? People read left to right. We had some graphics that were centered, and it just looks a little weird. It's harder to read. The fact of the matter is we're television. If, you know, people don't really want to watch TV and read stuff, so try never to have more than 3 bullet points. And those really should just be for emphasis. And if you really want to make it shine and add a little zip to it, human beings like other human beings, maybe say, you know what, we're going to do this reader, and we're going to turn in a graphic, but we're going to have it come up beside the anchor, and then the anchor is going to go, if you want to go to the hearing at the town hall meeting about the shelter, it's on, you know, such and such street at such and such time in such and such room. You can literally have that come up and an anchor can reference it. There's a lot you can do with television. Just be kind of creative with it, okay? Remember, guys, do not edit your stuff together until I proof your script. That's not just for your protection, but it creates an opportunity for me to say, and we are at the point in the semester where, you know, you guys are asking me questions, I'm going, I don't know, what do you think you need to do? Because I want you to consider options, because your brains now have tried other things. I think you guys have figured out nobody's going to let you, you know, get harmed, right? No students were harmed in the making of this newscast. You know, you got a little bit of mojo, you got a little bit of confidence, so I want you to rely on you, okay? So when you ask a question and I say, what do you think you should do? Let's talk about it from that point of view, okay? So when I say I need to proof scripts before you edit, it's so that I can say, what do you think about this? How might this be more engaging? Let's talk about news for just a minute. So a couple things happened today. I think, somebody made mention, was it you, about the news story that came over our Slack page that was, you know, from one of our beats. And I mentioned it to the reporter twice. And twice I expected the reporter for that beat to go, let me call the sheriff and get that story right now. And you didn't. Nixon, I'm not sure that would have been different for anybody else in here. Because when you get close to the newscast, the tendency is this, there's this old Southern saying, I got to dance with the one that brung me. This is the story I'm doing. I will do this story. If I do not do the story, I have a big black hole in the newscast. I will get an F. Bad things will happen. No, you have to be willing to go, I've got this story. It's a good story. Okay, I'm going to go call on this other story because it's bigger news. It's more important. This story will wait. This is important to the public. And that's what I would like to see. So let me just share with you, you have some confidence. And if you want to do that, and you should want to do that, we'll have your back. Had you in this instance said, let me make a call on that and see what I could get, somebody likely would have said, what about your story? Am I going to have a big black hole in the newscast? I can probably cut to me, but let me just call him. I've got enough time. Or, hey, content manager, would you mind calling him? He's really nice. Here's his number. Can you do that? We need to get that story. Not just go, okay, I missed it. The other thing is, what happened late this afternoon on the national scene?
Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. So, you know, are we going to do it as well as CNN? You know, probably not. At least not at the moment. But what might we have done? It's important to people. So just brainstorm. What might we have done, Kat? Could have done that, yes, just to let people know, hey, if you haven't seen any news today, you know, at least we give you a little something. What else might we have done? We're local news. What might we have done with that? Just freestyle.
Talk about it with that voter package, because we had that one package about voting, and we could, I don't know, maybe add a voiceover about it with some CNN clips.
So did we check CNN Newsource to see if maybe they had Pelosi on there? So maybe check CNN Newsource, see if we could maybe put a bite in there in between the voter story. Okay, it's a good idea. What else? We're a university. Is there anybody that might, I don't know something about impeachment proceedings? Yeah. You know, do we have a guy? I would say we probably have several. Do we have something called the Carl Vinson Institute that's got some experts in like international law and politics? Or am I just making that up? We do, don't we? We do. So when news like that happens, let's at least have a conversation. If nothing else, hey, this happened, what might we do? I might have said, hey, let's call both of our senators and let's call the U.S. congressman from this district. Let's call Jody Heiss. What does he have to say about this? Because, see, people here vote for U.S. senators and they vote for the U.S. congressmen in their districts. Might we have gotten some good quotes? You know, local senator so-and-so says it's fabulous or it's nonsense. But think like that, guys. And remember, when news breaks, you've got to be willing to turn on the dime. And it's scary because you've invested all day in something. But you have to be willing to do it because that's the profession you've chosen. And it matters. Let's keep working on being aggressive and not taking no for an answer. And sometimes when you do have to take no, let's go back to that diagram. You know, I still think we're not as bad as we were, but we still get a little shell shock. So-and-so won't talk to me. Who else might know? Just the way we kind of brainstormed this idea. You know, be willing to brainstorm your story. It might not be the exact story. Today we weren't sure about what are we going to do about the Athens police game. I thought Aaron did a really nice job getting the guy talking about, you know, it was wild, and describing what the police presence was like. And Aaron, did you tell me that this was one of the things, you had the number of arrests, you had the stats, but I didn't get a sense of how that compared, but I thought you told me that it was about the same as most any other game. Did I dream that?
No, it was pretty average as far as game arrests go.
Did you have that anywhere in the story? Or was that something we just like talked about and it never made it? Because I don't remember seeing it.
But I did not put it in the package, no.
Was it in the lead-in?
Yes, sorry, the lead-in, not the
I didn't hear it. Okay, well, my bad there. Tyler, your story, I thought there was some really interesting sound bites. You did a good job getting 2 interviews. The first lady you have made an interesting comment about the protesters. I think we should have pursued that. You know, one of the things is you guys, you're young, and when you cover news, everybody wants to make friends, right? And it's interesting. But you can't be somebody's PR agent, and you guys run the risk of that at times.
Okay, so that is our show for this evening. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.